Alright, I think we'll get started. Welcome everyone to another promotion and appointment and retirement ceremony for the Elgin Police Department. This is a great day for the police department as usual, and an exciting day for someone starting their career with the Elgin Police Department. Two people starting new parts of their career in the supervisory staff of the police department. And somebody that's leaving us after 20 great years with the department, taking on a position, the chief of another local law enforcement agency. Before we get into it, first I want to say thank you to everybody in attendance, particularly the people from our community and the friends and families of the honorees who are here today. It's great to have support, not just for the police department, but also for the honorees that are here as well. I'd also like to acknowledge a few special guests. We have from our City Council in Elgin, Councilman Terry Gavin. We have Councilman John Brady. We have Councilwoman Rose Martinez and Councilwoman Tisha Powell. Thank you very much for your attendance and support of the police department. From our Police and Fire Commission, we also have Mary Camacho. We saw Mary Harris. Thank you for coming and for your support as well, Mary. I'd also like to thank the men and women of the City of Elgin, City Manager's Office, and other city staff. We just saw our Assistant City Manager, Rick Ogle, here as well, and members of the Elgin Fire Department. Thanks again for your continued support. To start off our program, I want to welcome up Chaplain Carl Ball, who's going to start with our invocation.
Thank you. There are people of many different faiths here, so will you join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we ask for your blessing upon this proceeding. We ask you to honor the people who are here, the honorees, as well as their family members, and that includes all the members of the department. We ask you to bless these people who are coming into the department, for those who are being promoted within the department, and for the lieutenant who is leaving to become a chief of police in another department. May they walk with you and enjoy your blessing through all times. God bless the men and women of the Elgin Police Department and the citizens of Elgin. Amen.
All right. Again, for those who don't know, my name is Joseph Wood. I'm the police chief, and it is really my honor to be here today. And amongst many friends and family, as Bill said, Deputy Chief Wolf said, there's just so many people who always come out for these promotions, and it really does mean a lot. And so I really want to say thank you. Again, we're kind of bidding farewell to Leigh Rawson, and we know he's not going very far, and we're very excited for Leigh. I know he's very excited, and his family's very proud of him, and as well they should be. I, on the side, was talking with one of the family members, and we know there are many kids here today, and that is great, and so we know that there might be some outbursts and some crying going on, and it'll just actually provide us a little bit of roll call, so if we could allow them to do that, that would be okay. But this is meant to be very friendly and family-oriented, and we say sports should be more of a, kind of like a wedding than it should be a funeral. So please, get up when your loved one or somebody else is getting promoted or retiring and take as many pictures as you would like. You know, I'm very proud of Leigh as well, personally, and I think everyone here who is associated with the Elgin Police Department should also feel some sense of pride. The fact that when other departments are looking for a police chief, many times the members of the Elgin Police Department are looked to. And so that says a lot about how deep the bench is here at the Elgin Police Department, and we should also be very proud of that. But we'll get to Leigh here in a little bit, and we have a few other people who today is also marking a very important day. With the exit of Leigh, we'll be promoting Colin Fleury, who is currently a sergeant, and will be promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Colin's been with the police department about 15 years, and is more than ready for the challenges that he's about to experience. With Colin's promotion, that leaves an opening in the sergeant's rank as well. So we'll be promoting Ken Ericson to the position of sergeant. Ken, too, has been with the police department about 15 years, and he's very fired up, ready to take on his formal role of being a sergeant. And I say formal role because both Kevin and Colin have already been doing a lot of the duties that they're going to be stepping into. So again, they are very ready for that. And lastly, through this chain of events, it causes us to hire a new officer, which is a good thing as well. We'll be hiring Richard Free, who will be getting sworn in as well. So I just wanted to also make a moment, kind of remind me that with careers, it's kind of like life, that we don't always remember the hours, we don't remember full days, we remember moments in time. And that's why things like today are so important, having promotions and actually inviting community members, and inviting our co-workers, inviting friends and family, because it just makes the moment that much more special. And because of that, we started really doing a lot more with promotions over the years. I'm very proud that other people have stepped forward and said we need to do a lot more with the promotions around here, even the swearing in of new officers. It's such an important time, and it's something we should never take for granted, because time is so fleeting, and we need to remember these moments in time, capture them. And many times people aren't able to be with us, and they're not able to be with us for distance, they're not able to be with us because of their passing, but many other people have helped us get to where we are today, not just the people who are being honored today, or leaving us today, but for all of us. And so if we could just take a moment to give a quick reflection about those who maybe helped us on our journey in life, and it is a big part of why we're here today. Thank you. And for those who are traveling or who are not able to be with us because of distance, thanks to the Technical Investigations Unit who will be videotaping this, and we'll be able to put it out on social media and also burn copies for those who aren't able to be here today so that they can also still experience this fantastic day. So let's begin. We're going to start with kind of in reverse order, and we're going to start with swearing in a new police officer. So if Richard Free could please come forward. A couple of the particulars with Richard. Richard Free will be sworn in as badge number 402. Comes to us with a few odds and ends, with entire numbers, remember single digits. Comes to us with a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. He has been a police officer in Lake Moore since 2006. He was on the Marine Unit and deputy for the Lake County, Illinois Sheriff's Department Marine Unit. He grew up in Mundelein, went to Mundelein High School. I know he's here with his fiancée Claudia, his parents, I'll allow him to introduce. So with that, I would ask Kim Dewis to please come forward and swear in badge number 402, Richard Free. Officer Richard Free.
Thank you, Chief. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. This is something I've worked hard for the people that know me the best for the last 8 years or so. And it's a great honor, and I'm very humbled by this experience to be part of such a great law enforcement agency. Elgin is known as a premier law enforcement agency, especially in Illinois, and it's quite an honor to be here. I want to thank the citizens of Elgin. Obviously, get nothing but the best service possible, and do 110% every day. This wouldn't be possible if I didn't have the support of my parents, Fred and Rich. They've been very much in my life, and maybe the man I am today. And I also want to thank my beautiful fiancée, Claudia. She's been my rock, and I love you, and it's really great for this opportunity. Thank you.
Welcome to Richard, and welcome also to Richard's family. All right, so now we're going to do some promotions. You know, both of these officers today, some people get thrown when we say officers. Everybody, no matter what your rank is still a police officer. So Officer Fleury and Officer Ericson both went through a promotion process recently. And obviously by being here today, they both did outstanding in that testing process. And one of the standard questions that I ask in every interview, it's no surprise, is what have you recently done to improve yourself? What have you recently done to improve the police department? And what have you recently done to improve the city of Elgin? And both Ken and Colin were able to give multiple examples in each category. It's a testament to their career and how they carry themselves every day. And what I also especially like about Ken and Colin specifically, we'll talk about both of them, then we'll talk about them individually, is that many people, we all know, can sit in the chief seats and speak out when somebody falls or somebody doesn't do, something to the level that maybe others expect them to do. Or they're able to identify all the places we fall short as an organization or a city. And the one thing I've always been so impressed with Ken and Colin, they're both very vocal people who speak up and don't have any problem whatsoever when something is falling short to say, here's the problem, what's going on, but here's what I can do to help solve it. And that's going to be part of the characteristics of anybody, as long as I'm the police chief, that will get promoted. It's going to be somebody who can identify a problem, that's great, we all can do that. But what can they do to help solve that problem? And both Ken and Colin do an outstanding job in making sure that they are in the arena doing the work, and then also speak up and identify where they can help fit in to help solve the problems. I'd now like to ask Ken Ericson to step forward, please. Has been, Katie Johnson is helping us with this for the first time. Can we give Katie a round of applause for helping us put this together? Thank you. That also bought me a little time to get these out of the plastic wrapping that Katie in the future will make things up. Sure. Katie's done a fantastic job with this, and it's appreciated. But, so to Ken Ericson. Ken was hired here in June of 1998. He worked on all 3 control shifts. He's worked in our crime-free housing unit, and then up until last year, Ken was a resident officer on Spring Street, in addition with his entire family. It's a job that the entire family experiences with him. Ken holds a master's degree in interclude. Do you not want to be promoted? All right, who's next on this? Ken, you can sit over there for a little bit, or you can bring her with you. This is going to be a family. There we go. She must be. Ken he's a person who has had many awards. He's had 2 Distinguished Service Awards, 2003 and 2008, 2 unit citations in 2001 and 2011. He's had 46 letters of appreciation. Ken has been a police officer and a person who really wears his heart on his sleeve, something I've always admired about Ken. He's very caring, and it's visible his caring because his caring is actually what drives what he does. It drives his actions. So it's very easy to see how much Ken cares. And you can talk from many of his neighbors in the resident officer program, so I also know some of the programs he put on the Salvation Army, and many trying to help the homeless in Elgin, and he just really goes above and beyond and trying to help other people. And one of the things I'm very happy about with promoting Ken is that he connects with people. Everybody that's spent time with Ken knows that Ken can connect with people, he talks with people, and can relate very well. And I think that's when he's really at his best, when he's one-on-one talking with somebody who's maybe going through a very difficult situation. So I know that that's going to help Ken as he now becomes a sergeant. And so with that, I'm going to ask Ken Deuce once again to come forward and administer the oath of office. And Ken is going to be pinned, so who would you like to have? And it would be his wife. So please come on forward whenever you'd like. And Ken is going to do the oath of office.
Guess who runs the show? I, Ken Ericson, do solemnly swear that I will enforce the law, support the Constitution of the United States, and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of police sergeant of the City of Elgin, Illinois, according to the best of my ability.
Sergeant Ken Ericson.
I composed a speech in the last week and read it over and passed it, but it felt too dry. It felt too academic. For those of you that know me, that's just not me. So I put a few notes together, and I really want to speak from the heart. First off, I'd like to thank the chief and the command staff for having faith in me. I'm sure for Lieutenant Fleury, Lieutenant soon Chief Rawson, we all appreciate everybody that's come here today. Our family, our friends, members of the city, members of the city council, the fire department, people we've worked with, people we've met over the years. This shows your support of the department, the city, and the community. It's very much appreciated. The chief asked me to speak about what I believe in. I'll tell you the things I believe in. Two principal things. The first is community relationships. And the second is love. Let me talk about community relationships first. It's our bond with the community. It's the community trust. I developed this more in both. I didn't get a full grip of it until the last 5 or 10 years. I remember some roll calls maybe a decade ago where one of my sergeants said, "Go out and make a difference." And I'll be honest with you, I didn't really get it. We go out and we try to find crimes and arrest people. We try to enforce the law. It doesn't make a difference. It's going to happen again and again. I didn't get it. After we're crime-free and road, I understand that it's the impact it makes on people. It's generating a good relationship with people, developing their trust in us, and learning about them so we can serve them better. Because ultimately, we are servants. When you talk about love, I don't felt my faith, but I'm strong in my faith, and it's a critical part of who I am. And I'll say briefly, one of my favorite apostles is the Apostle Paul. And he says, if you're acting out of love, you're acting in the law. And how curious it is that our law, if you look at all the offenses, are also ones of offenses against love. You can't love someone and take from them. You can't love someone and strike them. You can't love yourself or your community and harm yourself with drugs or commit suicide. I believe a lot of our laws are based on that. If you think about our community relations, in the road program, I remember many times when there were situations going on with the burglary, with college parties, with other problems in our community. And as policemen, we have to tell them crazy things. Listen to this. Yeah, we have a person of interest, but I can't tell you who it is. We have information that I can't share with you. Yes, we're working on it, but I can't tell you about the operation. I can't tell you about search warrant. I can't tell you about surveillance. Yes, he really let him search his car when there was whatever in it. And yes, he really confessed and told me the whole thing. But when our community knows us, when they meet us, when they know our hearts, they say, I know this man. That's what he said. That's what happened. There's nothing more important than God. My dad taught me to never say home. So eventually we can share this, but initially they have to trust us. And they'll trust us when they know us. By building that community relationship, that's how we build that trust. I'd also like to bring up a program that I have the benefit of being involved in. Although people give me more credit than I did, the true person, my friend Tony C.A. sitting behind Sergeant Wood, to drive and force the street reach program that Elgin has been going on for at least 5 years now. Tony, I'm going to be free and share a little bit. I'm sure you're good with that. Tony, in his early years in life, chose a bad path. He got caught up in drugs. He got caught up in gangs. He got caught up in violence. He got caught up in the bad stuff of the world. But he had a defining moment. He had an epiphany, a faith-based epiphany, and he wanted to do something better with his life. And he's been involved with Street Reach, both with the Salvation Army and with the Vineyard. And we reach out to people that are homeless, people that are in need, people that are struggling, people that just need a place to go. And by getting to know them better, we realize this isn't a homeless person. This is a person who doesn't have a home. Some of them have their own struggles, their own challenges. They're still people. I didn't get that for a long time. But I do now, and I want to share that with people I know. You know, as the chief said once, and I love this, the way you said it, the vast majority of Elgin, 95% plus good people, a very small percentage, choose to deliberately, continually do wrong things. The vast majority that we run into, even people that we arrest, are good people that have made bad choices. Good people that want a situation, whether emotional or another involvement, and they deserve some degree of compassion to it, and some degree of empathy. It may not surprise some people here that I know people have arrested that I've talked to during the process, that have told me trying to focus on their life. They're giving me a hug when we left the station. And I'm honored to work for them. Now, as I look at my new position, the challenges it contains, I try to keep one phrase in mind, and that's when I look in the mirror, I say, be the person you want to work for. Again, be the person you want to work for. I think one of my greatest strengths is I try so hard to be positive, positive, positive. In a positive environment, you can achieve so much more. When I talk about my love, I know people take me sometimes as a little over the top. I do like giving hugs, I like complimenting. I like to put a smile on people's face. I hope that's taken the right way. But I think that environment and that approach is good for us. So I'm honored to take this new position. Thank you for your trust, Chief. The command staff, I was in on the interview. I appreciate it so much. I'm honored to be here today. I'd like to briefly introduce my family. My father's passed, but the chief said it, I can say it, that he's watching on me today. I don't know if I believe that theology, but I'm flattered by that. Thank you very much. My mother, Ruth, is here up front. She's been a great supporter. She's instilled all these values in me over the years, right and wrong. I'm very grateful for that, Mom. Thank you. My sister, Beth, is here. Her and her family have been integral in my life. She watches the kids so often. It's great. My brother, Stuart, is here, and my nephew, Steve. And of course, my wife, who's the strongest person I've ever met in my life, which isn't always good. But she's been a great supporter of me, and I appreciate it. My son, Matthew, everybody saw little Alyssa, who's a clone of her mom and baby Nathan. So with that, I'd like to say thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ken. But now I'd like to ask Sergeant Colin Fleury, who's going to be lieutenant, to come forward. Colin was hired here in Elgin in 1999. He served on the Border Watch and the Midnight Shift. Colin also spent a number of years in the game unit. Colin was promoted to sergeant in 2012 and he's worked in patrol in the traffic division. Colin has also been a member of our tactical response team since 2002. Colin holds a bachelor's degree from Law Enforcement Administration from Western Illinois University. Some of the awards that Colin has been a part of is 4 Distinguished Service Awards, Class 2, they were in 2003, 08, 09, and 11. 2 Department Accommodations in 2003 and 2008. 4 Department Unit Citations in 9, 01, 09, and 11. And Colin has also sent over 70 letters of appreciation. And if you talk with anybody, and before promotions or retires, I'll ask sometimes, well, what are your thoughts on this person, and share with everyone the good stuff. I don't know if there's some negative thing that pops up, but with Colin, there wasn't. And people said pretty much all the same things. He's very smart. He's very safe. He cares about his officers. He doesn't shy away from doing the right thing. And that's so important because, especially as a supervisor, doing the easy thing and the right thing aren't always the same. So making sure that it's not going to be the most popular person in the world making all your decisions, but he doesn't shy away from doing what's right. And that's what I'm very excited about. Colin's going to be such an asset to the management team. With that, I would like to ask Ken Ericson to come forward and administer the oath of office, and his wife and family are more than welcome. It's this whole side of the room, right?
I, Colin Fleury, do solemnly swear that I will enforce the law for the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Illinois, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of police lieutenant of the City of Elgin, Illinois, according to the best of my ability.
Lieutenant Colin Fleury.
Underestimate my the other side of the
started following Kenny because his dad was a preacher and my dad was a bricklayer. My dad could talk, but he wasn't a preacher. We can't say what my dad was. Anybody knows? First, I want to start by saying thank you, Chief, Deputy Chief Wolf, the Command Chef, Commander Leigh, Commander O'Shea, Director Grail's not here today. I thank you for this opportunity. I'm not going to let you down. I'm here to see that. I love this day. Thank you to my lovely wife, Eileen. We were looking at this new officer coming up, and she definitely pointed out that 22 years ago, we sat in the Schaumburg Police Department, and I listened to a speech given by a lieutenant, and then followed up by the lieutenant's wife about what to expect in law enforcement. And you're going to get a little bit of that in a second. But I won't do her part because the lady almost turned me away from the time. I also want to thank the city manager, the assistant city manager, councilman, and women. Thank you all. Maria, Macho, thank you very much. All retirees who came here today, thank you. Joanne, the meeting puts all this stuff on Facebook. She keeps the history of this police department going. And there's a lot of history going on today with Lee leaving, Kenny coming up, myself moving through. And she really is the lifeline to our retirees. And she really does keep this going. I see a lot of guys, Rich Fry, Jim Malone, some of you guys that are here today. Thank you very much for coming. It means a lot to us. Because despite this huge family that I have here, I have my family that came down from Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, the 6-hour drive. My father came up from Florida. My mother will be watching this on Facebook. Thank you, Jim, secondly, and Dan, for putting that together for me. I really appreciate this. But I would like to, real quick, point out my family to you since there's a number of them here. It really does. I've listened to sergeant speeches before, lieutenant speeches before, and I've heard variances of who you should really be around, be friends with officers and friends away from the department. And to me, my family's number one. My dad comes from a family of 8. My mother comes from a family of 8. I didn't make it to 8. Stop at 5. My oldest is Mason, stand up tall. Logan, Cameron, Aiden, we took a hiatus and decided we needed a girl, and Jordan. And then my lovely wife, my brother-in-law Wally, they found my nephew just got hired as a deputy in the jail at the county jail. He couldn't make it today, but we'll let him see this on Facebook, and I hope you're staying safe. We've been working double shifts in the jail. If you think this job is hard, try working in Cook County Jail. My mother-in-law, Jackie, my Uncle Tim, my Aunt Jackie, my Aunt Diane, my cousin Julie, and my Aunt Kate. So I've got a lot of people that are very important in my life. And then all these officers, we couldn't fit them all in one row. Roger and Pam, my Uncle Roger, Corey, and his wife Pam are also here. Anybody else hiding? It's going to take a lot of room here. I would like to, before I get started here, I don't know if anybody's been getting this here, I just want to give a big congratulations to you. We did this homicide case just recently. The hard work that is put in by members of this police department every day is astonishing. You're coming to one of the best police departments in Illinois. You're coming to the best police department in Illinois. There's no better, and it's been an honor for the last almost 16 years to serve here in multiple divisions. Traffic probably being the most interesting. It is an animal that no one quite understands in the police department. It is far different than the lifestyle that Chris Jensen and I and Jim Lally and other members of SID lived through. The game that we just drove around. Traffic is a whole other opportunity that I was given there, and it really opened my eyes to parts of my career. The big part of my speech, one of my biggest motivators, was the speech that was given to me by the chief of police when he announced to me personally what I was going to do. I'm always kind of a no BS person. As the chief said, I'm not afraid to speak my mind, and I'm not afraid when someone comes forward and tells me something that I need to listen to. So the chief looked at me in my office and he said, it's not too late. You don't have to accept this spot. Now, some of you might say, well, that's kind of harsh. Maybe he's telling you that maybe we want someone else to do it. I didn't look at it that way. The way I look at that is, the way that I look at the career as a police department, as a police officer, my entire career. I've got a famous line that I won't say here, because the world does need people in other professions too. And I think what the chief was trying to tell me, and the way I took it is, this is a very demanding spot. The officer on the street, the sergeant on the street, the lieutenant on the street, and I'll tell you about a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Leigh Rawson in a minute. We are the sheepdogs. This is not a spot for everybody, especially for you. You've already got a taste. When my wife and I sat there and listened to this woman, the wife of this lieutenant that was speaking, and she said, before listening to how you would never be at birthday parties, you would never be at Christmas and Thanksgiving and 4th of July's and vacations we missed, and all of this was going on. I looked at my wife after her, and I pretty much said the same thing that she said. We were engaged at the time. I said, you know, it's not too late. This is what I'm going to do. This is what you are going to be accepted. And she has done a great job. I couldn't ask for a better partner in this. I couldn't have done without her, and without the support of her and the upbringing that I was given by all of these people that showed up today. Now, while I've worked, my goal here has been dedicated to trying to keep our officers safe. My number one rule for my officers is you come to work in one piece and leave in one piece. We're all family. I will explain to you what they talked to about us about being sheepdog. And this is from Lieutenant Colonel Leigh Rawson. Many of you that have been around law enforcement will understand this, and those who have not, it should shed some light. Rawson says this: most people, and I've paraphrased it to break it down, most people in our society are sheep. Don't take it down. They're kind, gentle, productive creatures who can only hurt one another by accident or under extreme provocation. I mean nothing negative by calling them sheep. To me, it's like a pretty blue robin's egg inside of the soft and gooey, but sometimes, someday, it will grow into something wonderful. That egg cannot survive without its hard blue shell. Police officers, soldiers, and other warriors are like that shell. Someday the civilization they protect will grow into something wonderful. For now, though, they need warriors to protect them from predators. Then there are wolves. The wolves feed on the sheep without mercy. There are evil men in this world, and they are capable of evil deeds. And those of us that have worked it out have been witness to that. The moment you forget that, or pretend it is not so, you become sheep. There is no safety in denial. And then there are sheepdogs. I'm an older sheepdog. That's me. And the rest of these officers that stand there with me. I live to protect the sheep and confront the wolf. I have no capacity for violence, or if you have no capacity for violence, then you are a healthy, productive citizen and a sheep. That's fine. If you have capacity for violence and no empathy for your fellow citizens, then you are defined as a sociopath or a wolf. Those are our criminals. But if you have a capacity for violence and a deep love for your fellow citizens, like Kenny talked about, then you are a sheepdog, a lowly sheepdog. They don't like us when we're around. They only call us when they really need us, and then everybody wants to pet us. But until then, you're just kind of that smelly old sheepdog. And that's fine. All of us that have accepted this job, and when you accept this job, you have to understand you are now a sheepdog. If someone can walk into the heart of darkness, into the universal human phobia, and walk out unscathed. That meant a lot to me when I listened to Lieutenant Rawson talk, because I think it defines what all of us, including our retirees, that this job means so much to, and some sort of citizens that are part of this, that live that same sheepdog mentality. That when everybody else is running away from the wolves, we will always run in. Sometimes, like the blue canaries of the fire department gets so mad at, but we will always run in.
And that's the mentality of that sheepdog. It's what makes me proud to be part of this police department. With the men and women that I've worked with over the last 15 years, who've never faltered, who've always given everything they've had, and will continue to do so. And my hope is that as a lieutenant, I will continue to foster that type of attitude, that sheepdog attitude, that we'll go out and protect our citizens, be good sheepdogs, and do the right thing. Lee, I want to wish you farewell. Thank you for your years of service. Lee has been, for the last couple of weeks now, helping me, prepare me to become the lieutenant of the midnight shift. Lee has had a very excellent career, which the chief will talk to you about, and we're really going to miss you. So thank you very much. I have one more that I want to read here, and I'm done. This was from Theodore Roosevelt. And this kind of touches on what the chief said. It's not the critic who counts. It's the man who points out how the strong man stumbled. Credit belongs to the man who really was in the arena. His face marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs to come short, and short again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming. It is the man who actually strives to do the deeds, who knows the great enthusiasm and knows the great devotion, who spends himself on a worthy cause, who at best knows in the end the triumph of great achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails with daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with this cold and cruel souls who know neither victory nor defeat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Colin and Ken, and I'm sure everyone here, if you haven't had a chance to meet them, now have a very good understanding of why they are being promoted here today. Very excited about these promotions. And now, after all the great news and all the promotions, we have come to the point where we will let Leigh Rawson lead the Elgin Police Department. So with that, I would ask Leigh to come forward.
Change my mind.
As we're celebrating today the retirement of Leigh Rawson, and a place, well, he's spent about 20 years here with the Elgin Police Department, and he's spent those 20 years making Elgin a better place and the police department a better place. When Leigh announced that he was leaving, I immediately started getting calls and had people come forward and say, what's going on, when's Leigh's promotion date? And that wasn't just Colin Fleury constantly asking me that. It was other people who wanted to come out and say congratulations to Leigh, because Leigh is a very active person, and again, once you meet Leigh, you can't help but like him and respect him for the work that he does and the manner in which he carries himself. I've seen many people leave here, and I'm always so proud when they leave the Elgin Police Department when they're surrounded by friends and family and a thankful community. And I know that command staff, we've already had a few meetings thinking about how are we going to divvy up all the things that Leigh is involved in. He's got his hands in many different pies, so to speak, throughout the police department, and we are working very hard to divvy up all those different responsibilities. So Leigh is definitely going to be missed. He's a very active member of the management team. And over the past few years, we've worked through many different issues within the police department and the community. I want to personally thank Leigh for all your advice and guidance throughout those times. And again, Leigh is somebody who, at pretty much every meeting, he's not the most outspoken person, but so pretty much every meeting he would, at some point, I'd have to say, well, Leigh, what do you think? And it was only after maybe a couple months of that Leigh finally asked me if I was picking on him. And I make it very clear that I wasn't picking on Leigh. I admire Leigh, and I like the way he thinks. He's not a very emotional thinker. He's very reasoned and instincts proven. Some of us have a very emotional thinker and sometimes react very quickly. So having someone like Leigh close by has always been something I really rely on. So I want to say thank you very much for your balanced perspective and the way you work through many issues and your honest feedback that you give. And so with Leigh leaving, we always have a plaque that we'd like to give him. And this one says, to Lieutenant Leigh Rawson, badge number 210. and has the dates of service for 20 years of dedicated service to the Elgin Police Department. Thank you for a job well done. And with that, I would like you all to help me recognize Lieutenant Leigh Rawson, number 210, on his retirement. Colin and Ken, can you come over here a second? You rising up?
And the outgoing.
You're going to see a theme here. First, I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Again, I'd like to thank the City Manager's Office, City Council members, Chief, Deputy Chief, all the command staff, all the officers that are here, the fire department, everybody that's come here. And I'd like to thank you for the support, especially over 20 years. That was great. So I want to thank my wife and daughters for coming. These are my lifeline. Cindy, can you stand up? It's my wife, Cindy. She wouldn't be any taller. She's busy up in Minnesota. Actually, she's in Minnesota right now. But I really don't know where to start. The speeches, the philosophies, and the direction of the police department are for those being promoted. I'm leaving, so I tend to go more towards the memories and thinking back about 20 years and where I've been and where I've come. So I'm going to start all the way at the beginning. Are you ready? No, not too far. But I did have a decision to make. When I was, I was raised in a family that really respected and pushed education. I was finishing up college and I wanted to be a cop. Always wanted to be a cop from the day I was very small. That's not an uncommon story. But one day during college, I was applying for all these police jobs, and I had a decision to make because during 1 week, I received an offer for the Glenview Police Department, an offer for the U.S. Marshal Service, and acceptance to law school. What do you do? Well, 20 years later, I'm going to put that decision towards my success for where I'm going now, because I chose education. So, if I could introduce Captain Peterson, Shannon Andrews, if you could stand up. Village manager and deputy village manager for the village of Lakewood and the thieves that have taken me. Here's what happened. When I came to Elgin, I was actually an attorney. About 22 years ago, I was called by one of the partners of my firm, hey, we got a problem. One of our clients is at the Elgin Police Department. She's being accused of murdering her husband. We need you to go over there and do your lawyer. I'm thinking to myself, what? We're not a criminal firm. We didn't do criminal law. I was a civil attorney. And here one of our clients is in trouble. And I needed to go over there and make sure that everything was handled properly. So I'm sitting over there, basically babysitting my client until one of the partners could get there. And I'm talking to 2 Elgin officers about the Elgin Police Department. Not with my client, because she's fine. I'm in the roll call room of the old police department, talking to 2 officers about Elgin Police. They didn't know I wanted to be a cop. And all the thing that I remember most about the conversation is talking about programs
at the police department. The gang unit, the drug unit, the detective division, juvenile, and everything, all the way through. And I had already seen and read articles and learned about Chief Charles Gruber and the ROPE program. So I knew the emphasis that the police department put on community engagement and community relations. But when I heard these stories, all these cool things that I could do, and I started thinking, why am I sitting in an office when I can't SWAT team? So it was kind of an interesting step, and people have asked me for 20 years, why did you do that? You're an attorney, why would you? And they would always say, go back and be a cop. Well, I didn't think of it as going back. To me, it was always a step forward. So I did. I applied to one police department, and I was offered the job. My goal was to work in as many different divisions as I could and get as much experience as I could. And I did that. Traffic unit, detective division, SWAT team, and as a supervisor worked in different areas. And I got a varied experience. But the overarching goal or the overarching theme of all of that experience was the community. So, one day I'm at Stafford Command School, I'm driving back with Commander Darryl, who can't be here today, he's out of town. And he says, hey, I talked to you about a position up in Lakewood. They're looking for a chief. And Chief Swoboda would like to talk to you about it. What? So I went to the chief's office, and they said, yeah, Lakewood's looking for a chief. What do you think? Oh, that's pretty much what I said. I wasn't even there yet. My goal was to get to my 20 years and then make a decision where I'm going to go, which was probably teaching. My goal was to go into teaching my life. So I said, we're looking for a chief now. They're not ready yet. I'm not quite there. Maybe not. Well, a week later, I'm back in his office, and thank you, Chief. No, really, you need to look into this. I think you'd be a really good fit out there. I said, okay, so then my resume, and lo and behold, literally 2 months later, I'm leaving to become chief of police somewhere. And thank you to Catherine and Shannon, who were part of the interviewing team, and they decided that I believe, based on my respect for education and knowledge, my community engagement, attitude, and relations, they decided that I would be a good spot, a good spot. So I think the two of you and Chief Howell, who was also part of that committee, for offering me that position and giving me the opportunity to expand my horizons in law enforcement, continue teaching, and continue the path of knowledge. Thank you very much.
Very much, Louise. And just to clarify that story, he made it sound like it was an offer he couldn't refuse, didn't he? I was actually happy with his work, but he kept saying, no, really, you got to take this job. So this has been a very filled ceremony, and thank you for everyone for showing up and coming and showing your support to the Elgin Police Department, specifically to Sergeant Ericson, Lieutenant Fleury, and now Chief of Police Rawson, or soon to be next week when he's sworn in, and Richard as well. Thank you for coming here as well, Richard's family. So I know people have busy schedules, and it really does mean a lot to all of us when people take the time to come out, especially as Colin hit on our retired members. Really trying to do a focus to make sure the retired members stay engaged, because if it wasn't for the retired members creating the environment, as Lee's talking about, this community involvement, community engagement, something that goes back years. It's not something that's just new and been created. And that's something that keeps me motivated every day, is trying to build on, because Elgin is known for our community involvement. And I also want to say thank you to the council members for being here today as well. Your support routinely that comes up in the city manager's office. One of the things that we push, and specifically that Colin and Lee have been doing, and Kenny as well, with training and making sure that we have the funding so that we can continuously train officers. I wouldn't be able to have the conversation with Lee if he'd spent the last 20 years not being involved, or as Colin put it in there from President Roosevelt's of getting in the arena, being active, not sitting on the sideline talking about how the strong man stumbled or somebody came up short, but by the guy who's in the arena or the girl who's in the arena doing the work, being out there actively, being on patrol, seeing problems and addressing them. And if we'd been one of those people not getting involved and just being a critic on the sideline, I could have said, hey, there's a job up there, and Kathy and Blake would have never even had a second look at it. It's by continuously being involved. And so with that, I too, it's been hit on as well, I want to say thank you very much to the members of the Elgin Police Department. Every day I'm astonished by the tremendous work that you do. There's a recent big case that just came down, but every single day there's many, many smaller cases that go on. And the professionalism, the things that we work through are just time and time again something that I'm always astonished by the work you do. So thank you to all those who are actively engaged. And if there are some others who are on the sidelines and maybe not as engaged as they want to be, I invite you all to get into the arena as well. We're doing a lot of great things within the police department, and that's a testament to the supervisors who are here, the officers who are the ones who are coming up with the ideas. Again, we already thanked Sharon, because Sharon left. We already thanked Sharon and Katie for setting up. We have cake and coffee back there. And I would like to have Lee, Ken, and Colin all come forward. We're going to create a receiving line after our chaplain, Carl Ball, closes us out with prayer. So if you three could come forward, please, and stand up here. And once it's done, we will have a receiving line over here and cake and coffee. Just ask everybody to stay around. So thank you all so much for coming out today. And we give these three a round of applause.
Please join me in prayer. To those who are honored here today, may God's power form a protective hedge around you. May He grant you the courage to fulfill your charge without flinching, the wisdom to act honorably in the interest of justice, the grace to maintain compassion while working hard in unforgiving streets, the integrity to discharge your duties with truth and dignity in the sight of God and man, the foresight to invest in your loved ones and family while there is still time, and the faith to start each day committing your life and destiny into the hands of God Almighty. Congratulations and God bless you.
So that concludes our ceremony. Please make your way up if you have the three had a chance to congratulate them. Please stay for some coffee and thank you.